closing in. Nothing to bear and nothing to win. Nothing to win. Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Take my hand, I'll take you higher than you've ever been. Than you've ever been.
Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which you all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day. Let's go into the charts, shall we? Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. So it's quite interesting, as we've always seen this occur, coming between these diagonal fib channels in an ascending channel way. We were talking about that possibility back here, and we've been holding this 65706 fib region of this path to the upside. Quite fascinating, really. Before we get into what happened last night, let's go into the liquidity, shall we? What is the liquidity heat map? Well, it's when people leave their liquidity in the charts without a stop loss and let the market maker burn them to a crisp and come take all their money away. Let's see who got crispy today, shall we? So last night we were back here in this place in time, and we were talking about these pools potentially getting hit, and that coincided with the 618 region. Let's just go back there and recap, shall we? Let's go to lower time frames, shall we? 1 hour. All right, so we were talking about this kind of fib level bounce right here, bouncing off the 618, which coincided with a pool of liquidity down here-ish. And yeah, we bounced off that, but then dropped abruptly thereafter. So I talked about putting my stop loss into profit, and we did that and locked in the gains from yesterday. And basically we dropped out of that while I was sleeping. This was from 5 a.m. but I fell asleep in my chair actually, so I was looking at what happened here, and I had also strangely put out a bearish projection saying if we don't hold this 236 level, we could come down to these regions as well. Unbeknownst to me, we did come down to that region, which was quite fascinating, and we ended up going down here. Thankfully, I woke up at 6 because I'm a light sleeper, and I woke up to the damage as it was happening, and I saw that we could V-shaped here. Why did I think that? Well, there was a lot of bubbles up here that were really big, and yes, there was stuff down here like this bubble right there, but it looked like a V-shape could recur. I said the V-shape could be real here. Watch for those bubbles above us to be trapped or not. And I also put out the idea of the 22-hour cloud holding strong after we wicked up from that. And I was saying, yep, we're making that trapped liquidity idea because all of those opened basically beyond this point at a loss. We'll get into that. And I said it was real. And they started their path to the upside, and let's go into heat map to see what happened there, shall we? So, gotta sleep though, so I missed that short, unfortunately. I think Rainier put out a short, so good call on Rainier for that short. So yeah, this right here, you had a lot of bubbles opened up here, a lot of short liquidity, and their tug of war to the upside helped that V-shaped come to fruition because they opened their trades as it dropped. You don't want to do that. You want to short on the highs and long on the lows. So these guys don't know what they're doing, or they're hoping for some sort of 25k drop, which is in the ether right now, and it just V-shaped in their face. And we decided to re-enter along here and scalp the living daylights out of it, and we have $422 realized and a runner still in profit. So that's the receipts, and still all green thus far, so we're good to say. Even though we didn't get that first push to the upside and we missed that, we did find re-entry and enjoyed that upside play. Shout out to everyone here, and let's go back into the liquidity as it stands now. So previously these bubbles were sparse, which showed the idea of this coming up. Now, ever since we started consolidating right here, we're starting to see some more long FOMO longs enter, which is the dead weight that could bring us back down to here or below. However, if you look to the upside, you do see these juicy bubbles here at 2849 and the previous idea at 2872, and of course 2877 and above at this pool up here at 28.9, and so on and so forth. And of course we were talking about how the what's it called, on the higher time frame where the 29.4 liquidity pool lies. So let's go ahead and take a look at that pool, shall we? I wonder how the people that put out long trades were doing that didn't set a stop loss.
Fatality.
Gotta always cover your entry. We went over covering your entry like Captain America's shield. You gotta put it up as soon as you punch. You trim and block, trim and block, trim and block. And you can always find a better entry, so don't feel the FOMO. Just trim and block. Trim and block. Don't worry about getting knocked out of the trade. It's better than being negative. So, yeah. Where do we go from here? So the previous 7-day pool here just got banged out for, let's 4, 5, 5, 5, 3. So let's say about $30 billion knocked out here. And you got now this path to the 29.4 clear right for the taking, literally and figuratively. So let's go to the monthly. How y'all doing out there? Fatality. In this case, it was
Fatality.
Babality. That was a classic back in the day, wasn't it? So we had we got that 20 billion at 29.4 still, just like you got some paths of 3.8, 5.8, 5, 7, 5, 6, 3. I mean, I don't see any reason why it would go down to these sparse pools below at this point. Like, I mean, I'm not saying bet the farm or anything, but 29.4 looks really clear as a objective at this time. It's really weird to say that, but 29.4. And if you look here, we on the 3-month time frame, 9 billion 29.8, 12 billion 29 even, 11 billion 29.2, 44 billion 29.4, and 40 billion 29.6, and just a measly billion 2, 10. Yeah, not looking good for shorts in this interim play to the upside potentially on the 3-month. So let's look at the 6-month, shall we? Looks like it's gonna be a fun Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have to see where the S&P wants to take us to. Yeah, this looks like 29.4 at the 80 billion now. Brought in another 3 billion almost, or 3 billion. And 15, 14, 2, 1, 4 previously knocked out that 22 down here. We did talk about that 22. I should have been more aware about how that was thicker than that. So you had 10 billion here and 22 billion there. So there's no reason why they shouldn't have spiked down there. So that makes perfect sense here on this time frame. Like comparing 10 to 22, I would go get the 22. So I should have just kept the sights a little bit tighter and seen this for the potentiality. And then that entry on my short over the weekend, you could have just held that. But it did spike back up, so it is what it is. We scalped it, the living daylights each day anyway. So let's go to the yearly. Booyah! So if we look here, we got $29.668 billion up there. It takes 29.4 and adds it there, so the yearly kind of loses that 29.4 idea. But you did have the 29.4 and 29.6, 40 billion each on, I think it was the 3 months. So let's go back to that. Yeah. So you had 44 billion 29.4, 42 billion 29.6. Once again, 44 billion 29.4, 42 billion 29.6. Down below, not completely empty here, but just juicier and a hop, skip, and a jump to the upside to grab that could be the case with nothing immediately below anymore after that liquidity grab. So that's about it. Let's go back to the monthly and see the damage on a more granular level. Let's just do it like that. So they came back for this, 30 billion. Yeah, just about 30 billion. They came down and grabbed that and V-shaped out of there. And that V-shape does, people would say rising wedges break down, but they break down into liquidity. And if there's no liquidity, then that's your parabolic up to here kind of play, in my humble opinion. So you don't need to draw the patterns if you know what the liquidity and the patterns they induce represent. So that's pretty interesting. You could parabolically break up to the box we've had here since Saturday or so, Thursday even, maybe. No, it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. So pretty interesting. Let's go into that 0 point space, shall we? Time, space, distance, and separation are but mere illusions, projections cast out of the 0 point energy in the 7th dimension, collapse through the quantum probabilistic foam into a spin-up or spin-down electron pair in the 5th dimension. And you're telling me those electrons traverse back and forth through the 4th dimension as positrons and only one electron created all of this? Wait, so that means nothing beyond you exists separately and everything is a manifestation of vibration of holographic probabilities realizing itself on a continuum of self-driven momentum. I get it now. It's all momentum. I see. Well, let's go into the charts and see Momentum Master up close. Boom! So, we're getting 2 time frames over bought right now. They're diamonds, so that means that is a higher time frame, most likely the 6 hour and 4 hour. Let's go take a look to see if that's true. We'll remove this fib now. Yeah, it still has momentum on its side, but it is getting to that 74 region, just a little bit crispy. And you're seeing the 6 hour not overbought, then it must be the 22 or the 12. It might even just be the 22 and no, it's not the 22. The 22 bullishly reset. Dun dun dun. What's going to happen with that? That's interesting. So we went essentially sideways and reset the 22. Things that make you go, Things that make you go, And also we were talking about the bounce off the cloud this morning too. We were saying like this cloud, getting that cloud bounce, slurp them noodles please. And we got that bounce off the cloud on the 22 hour time frame. So let's take a look at that. So you got the 12 hour kind of curving up here, and the baselines are above the price. Once again, we were talking about yesterday, if you can't reclaim this 236, this is the bearish trend based fib extension tool, which is taking you down to these regions if you cannot hold this 236. I should have reiterated that more clearly, so you would have thought about potentially shorting, but Rainier had you covered on that. Good call, shout out to Rainier. And yeah, so looks like we're healthy, bouncing off the 12-hour cloud as well as the 22-hour cloud. So that's looking juicy and good. The 8-hour was worrying me. I was talking about the 8-hour a little bit and how it was thinning, but we managed to reclaim it after that nasty dump. And then now we're seeing it above, and it's starting to open up a little bit here. So if we zoom in a little bit, you're starting to see that thinning come back. This is a volume-based cloud, momentummaster.info. scroll down to features, toggle trend cloud, read about it, or you can turn on all of the Momentum Master A things and see each piece of the puzzle as we made it happen. And yeah, that's up to you in your free time. Check it out. So we're seeing the 8 hour start to get a little bit of curviness to it. It's unique in how it's maintaining its bullishness. And if we go to the 6 hour, also going to see something similar, most likely. Load, please. There we go. So we broke down out of that 6 hour and started to reclaim it, and we're still on that healthy path of bullishness, shifting out of the cloud here and going to the 4 hour. 4 hours started to fade here, which is interesting. We had a crossover helix on the 4 hour, which is just getting started by the looks of it. Now, you could see something like this where it dumps back down, but we were at resistance here. We are at resistance again. So it could just pump you up to fade you down, but this was a juicy pump that up that helix that came true. So 4 hour helix crossover event. Let's go to the 1 hour. We'll start looking at Momentum Master B in a second. This could be a shoulder head and a shoulder out of here. Where do we go back down to is the question, perhaps, if this will load. We do have that cloud breakthrough, come back, kiss, and re-enter, perhaps. I don't know. We'll look at the liquidity in more detail in a moment. In conjunction with that, the hourly is overbought, extremely overbought, so you could see that kind of retraced down into some 100x characters. We do have some 100x just off the bow here, so we could fire some shots down to them and grab their liquidity and find that order block into the upside, either off this guy too at 27.92, so that would kick me out of my runner, and then I could reassess. My stop loss and take profit are already set. Good to go on that. Not financial advice, of course, just for fun, for giggles and wiggles. All right, so we're gonna look down here and see if we can come down into this cloud, perhaps. And let's go, yeah, so we could come back into this 28K region and gobble up some of these 50X that FOMO longed up here. So they FOMO'd long up here. They're already underwater. And yeah, that 27.9, you got a shoulder, head, and possible shoulder to go get this guy. And that neckline will probably take you to there. See, we don't even need the patterns. We could just like see it, like see through the matrix code, man. So you just go down to this thing and it's, yeah, we could come to this guy. I highly see that happening. However, don't focus on one side of the equation. Let's look up above and see what juiciness awaits. You got some 29.49 character that's just a hop, skip, and a jump up here. He's already well underwater by the remembrance of where they entered. So if we go down to here, so this guy that's hoping for a miracle opened his trade. Let's be precise about this. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. No, I don't think that was that bubble though. Maybe. I'm saying it's this one at 27.313. So this poor soul opened their short down there and they are hurting. So they're already in massive pain. So they could come down and grab those guys and finish the job with their liquidity easily without him closing, because they're probably in so much pain even here still that they could just, make them sweat a little bit longer before they come back to them, and then also scare out some longs. That's a kind of cool narrative that I can see unfolding. And you do have a big bubble down here at 27.92. Will they come back for that? it depends on how many shorts open in the process. So if you had high block, you can actively see how many shorts and longs open at any given moment and how big their bubbles are. So yeah, as of this moment, the hourly could cool off here and come on down just based off the liquidity and the cloud kiss idea, and it looks like that's the case. Coming back down with the 2 time frames overbought. Let's go to the S&P. We'll let that chill out for a minute. Ooh, still kind of going up in a manner here. So Monday kind of went sideways, essentially went down and came up. So we're just in this take profit region of this daily trend-based fib extension level. So the players that got in down here and possibly trimmed here and re-entered here are looking to take profits and disguise their positions perhaps for a larger pullback of sorts, perhaps after you got the baseline fatigue on the hourly, that previous nuke. So you got an overbought 15. The hourly is coming down in a bullish manner. What do I mean by that? Well, it came down completely while you went sideways, essentially. The Williams is at its peak, so that could just suppress you here too if this curves down and gives you another alarm here. And with the baselines and the crossover helix locked in and the 6 time frames overbought, I would be considering an M formation perhaps. It is Tuesday, so is the play for the week going to be down for Tuesday and Wednesday? Are we going to retrace into this bare minimum into the Keltner channel of some sorts? Resetting the 4 hour in some manner. So the 4 hour is also overbought. Let's see how bad the damage is. It's completely pinned as the Williams starts to come up here and the average of itself meets its maker. And you know, you could meander around. It's happened before where we go up and this stays high. So this is just the first of that. So you could, but after the first alarm, we did have a massive reset here. So each one of these alarms did bring something alarming to the table of a slight reset. So if you see this cross and give you an alarm on the 4 hour time frame, you could see a little bit of a pullback. So as of this moment, the 4 hour in conjunction with the 15-minute reset is what we're looking at here for the S&P. Let's look at the futures. The futures is aggressively dumping. This is the gap down, I assume, and they're going to recover some of it and then maybe come play out. The 15-minute has reset. So the 15-minute on the actual S&P is different from the futures. The futures has already reset its data being in real time, so they could come back to this. Depends on if you're playing futures or not. So for the futures, guys, I would say you come and recover at least 50% of the vector and then continue down. 50% seems to be the special number for vector candles. Let's just go into the Momentum Master Discord for the framework on that and go over that in a little bit more detail. So you have your retracement. What is a retracement? Retracement is when price moves back inside the recently created price range. Why is it important? When price returns inside a recent price range, this indicates a willingness on the part of the market maker to reprice to levels not efficiently traded for fair value. So this would include gaps So that's why you hear people talk about recovery of gaps and stuff. So they would fill in that void and go back in the direction they came, which was down in this case. But it does the same thing for upside plays. So you need the liquidity void in conjunction with a retracement. And that is what you have. So would it retrace into this void before continuing down? It could save that for later, I don't know. It could be 2 candles down before it does that. There's no guarantee it'll do it immediately, but you do see those recovered, and they normally recover 50%, similar to here. So even if it's bullish, it first goes to that 50 level, like the 0.5 of that, and then fades. So you would see that potentiality of a recovery of 50%. So would you come back to like that 50% level? It looks like we already did. Wait, is there a wick there and I'm not seeing it because of that box? Hold up. Let's go to the 1 minute. Yeah, I think I'm missing it. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, so coming back to that fair value gap on the 1 minute, even if you're getting to the 1 minute time frame, there's guys in the Momentum Master that are fanatics about this lower time frame, and they're making bizank off of it. So they would be getting these crossover events like this. I've made a few plays like this too. I'm gonna try it out. So you're getting this like crossover potential that could come up to this gap. We're switching to Heikki Nashi, and you could see that kind of bounce up here and go to the cloudish area, but you need to get the crossover and the no wick candle here. Let's just do a quick little scalperoo idea. Let's just see if it does something. Let me turn off the suppression here because I'm not really looking at a higher time frame right now. Consider it. Take it off. All right. So you're getting some volume step in here with this cumulative time frame volume delta arrow that's occurring here, and you're getting a DNA helix cross, which is the baseline of price. We got 28 seconds for this candle to close on the S&P. If this closes properly and provides us with a candle, we could find that nice entry, paper trading of course, and we could see how that works on the futures idea in just a small little scalperoo. And if you did 2 or 3 contracts, that's, oh, there you go. So you would just, it locked in, and then you just find your aggressive entry on momentum, and you would just take that because there's no wick there. And then I think you enter off that, and then you'd just be riding that profit. I think these people doing this are doing this on sub time frames, so they would see that and just enter if there's no wick there. But I think they wait for that to close, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm still new to this, so if it goes to close with no wick there, then you might be the thing to enter. I'm not sure 100% whether it was like that aggressive thing with no wick. I think you have to have the wick locked in. I'm not the person who developed this strategy. Shout out to Smurfington for that, and Peyton, of course. My brothers in arms. So, yeah, and then so that's locked in, so you'd enter now, boom. And then you should see a momentum surge that's kind of like a cheat code that has little to no drawdown. So there's some rules behind it. I might be missing some of those, even though I created the indicator. It's so awesome what the guys have done with it. Like some of them do candleless trading, like they turn off the candles and just look at the indicator. That's how much trust they have in it. So shout out to those guys in the Discord. and girls. We have some ladies there too. Shout out to the ladies. Booyah. So you would just ride that up and watch it cascade potentially on these minutes. And we'll just do that for fun because we already nailed Bitcoin for today. So if you get the helix cross on the 2 minute, and this is what we talk about cascading. So if you cascade these time frame crosses, then it gives you security that the higher time frame response is occurring, and we're seeing the scalp on the 1 minute possibly cascade to the 2 minute. And you just observe these things on Momentum Master as they occur. We already locked in a fair value gap was here, so it would be just a very small percent. But this small percent with the futures contract with 2 contracts would probably be a couple $1,000. So it's a very small ticks give you a lot of money. So that's why micro things. So let's look at the 1 minute here. It's already starting to come back to where we entered. That's not good. But your drawdown is very minimal so far, holding the trend line, the baseline. What is the baseline? We'll come back to this in a minute. Well, the baselines are your first signs of reversal. The baselines are one of the few leading moving average formulas you will find on the market. When price action rests on or above these and the baselines begin to cross, upside begins. Conversely, as the price action closes beneath these and begin to cross, downside begins. While this formula works well expressing the first signs of fatigue on all time frames, this will ultimately be a scalper's dream. And it's been proving that with the guys in the Discord and the girls as well, because they've gotten funded off of it. Congrats to the hard work they put in each and every day. We will continue to try to mirror that on every level. So it looks like it had that very minimal drawdown from the entry of 0.01% so far. So you would have sweat bullets for a couple seconds, but then you would have been up. And you would have been up, let's see, how much? Whoops. 0.04. And we'll come back to how the 2 minute is going. Did it start to cross and cascade? Yes, it did. Is this locked in? I'm not sure. I think it locked in here on this last candle, so that's good. And then you start looking at the 4 minute. A lot of people have been shouting out to me that the 4 minute is really juicy, so we're going to look at the 4 minute. Apologies if you're not interested in this. I'm just trying something different since we nailed Bitcoin pretty much for the most part. I hope it's interesting. How's everyone doing out there? Can you have a look at Cat and Kada? Alright, yeah, sure. Whenever you're in my live, you feel like you're in another realm. Yeah, nice. I always feel like I'm in another realm. I was telling some kid today, I was on a field trip to this park and we were outside for my work. I'm a teacher of science and English and stuff. So I was telling him about the magnetosphere and how the Earth churns its iron core and basically protects us at every minute of every day from the solar winds and the radiation of the sun. So the magnetosphere projects this barrier at every second of every day that's blocking 99% of all the radiation from the sun, and we only capture 1% of that. And that, you know, of course you feel that as heat and it burns your face and everything. So if the Earth just decided to stop moving its core, it would basically kill us in a minute and blow away all our atmosphere, and boom, we'd be gone and turn to cinder and ash. So it's pretty cool that our Earth is like kind of alive and protecting us, considering other planets in our solar system don't have active cores. None of them are active. The idea of that is a false myth that Venus has active volcanoes is actually false. The core died long ago. So the only planets with life must have living cores, which is kind of like an interesting thing of like a heartbeat. Interesting facts. Science is really cool. If you go to the bottom of it, you start to see this mystical nature of reality itself. And I don't know how scientists would not see that. If you find this Maxwell Planck quote, let's see, Maxwell Planck atom quote. I think I have it in the Discord, but I don't want to show that. All matter originates. Here we go. This is the guy who found the shortest distance between atoms, the Planck length, the shortest distance. And Einstein has proven distance is not real, non-locality, spooky action at a distance, but that's another story. So anyway, he got a Nobel Peace Prize for his discovery, and this is what he says. As a man who has devoted his whole life to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter, I can tell you as a result of my research about atoms this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. Pretty interesting, but yeah, I digress. So yeah, the planet having a living core, like a heartbeat, kind of protecting us from the sun. We're like in a rock in a hard place at all times. You know, we could be destroyed by a volcano or earthquake from the earth trying too hard, or the sun burning us to a crisp. Pretty cool. So next time you feel all this doom and gloom, it's just a miracle we're here to begin with. So just seek solace in that fact and chill out. We're here and we're gone, and the iron in your blood came from the death of a star, so you're all cool. Nothing can be created or destroyed. We're all just here in this moment, and then we're gone. Alright, so you would have been up on this. It crossed over on the 2. We saw that cascade on the S&P. Let's go to the 4-minute. I really wish I could be in their scalping with them. The New York time frame in my... Ooh, looks like we got the cross on the 4-minute, and then boom, momentum. And this is where Smurfington would be screaming like, oh my god, and he would be getting a new car and stuff. So yeah, it's it's kind of like a cheat code. And so you would be up on your 2 contracts or whatever by $1,000 or something, and then you're in and you're out, and you could cash out and trim and boom 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 and just be happy. And of course somebody would be sitting in a longer scalp than that, but that's all you need. You had a very minimal drawdown of 10 seconds, and then you were all in profit the whole other time. And that is the proof in the pudding. Bada bing, bada TC. Yeah. So that's a little tutorial on the scalping. We'll take off Heikin Ashi, go back to the candles. Momentum Master, baby. What are you waiting for? Alright. So, why is it taking so long?
Why are you taking so long to load, like jizz?
Alright, come on. Let's go. Is my wife playing, like, Switch again? I told her to Give me an hour, please. At least she laughs about it. She's like, oops. Alright, so Bitcoin came down a little bit, didn't knock us out, and came down to that 236. What is that 236? I know by the color, because I color code my stuff, that is a 236. I think that's the bullish 236 for the trend-based fib extension level. That's why we put our entry beneath that zone. So let's see. Let's see, shall we? And yeah, if we go to the hourly, once again, we were talking about how the hourly would come down a bit, which it did. So it could kind of, we closed that hour and reset from 97 down to 71. So we could double top here for that attack to the liquidity. Let's go see what kind of liquidity they knocked out of the game, shall we? It wasn't quite a kiss down to the cloud just yet. I'm happy with it knocking me out. I don't care. It got all my trimmed profits out. 422 locked and loaded in my account. So if they come down to here, we can look at how this resets too if it continues further down. Not my sweet spot just yet. So we'll go to the 15, see what's going on. 15-minute cloud. We did reset, but the Williams is starting to come down in a way that says I want to reset completely. So if we go to potentially this could be a bearish retest to come down. 15-minute is oversold. However, that hourly wants to do some damage to you. Let's go look at the Momentum Master B multiple time frames, so stochastic, to see that if that's true. Where are you? Where are you? Higher time frame, lower time frame on the 15-minute. So this is the 15-minute. It's reset and possibly wants to come up. However, the Williams is coming down, the 30-minute is coming down, and the 5-minute is coming down on you with that potential suppression, as is the hourly. So if we go to the 30-minute to see that juxtaposed, you have the 30-minute coming down with the 15 and the hourly, all three coming down like water out of a pitcher, and the Williams as well. So that's not my sweet spot for entry personally. If you're not already in, you should sit on the sidelines. Not financial advice, just some sort of kind of idea. And you have the 4-hour coming, the hourly coming down, the 4-hour trying to catch you. Interesting. So the 4 hours trying to catch the 30-minute and the hourly here for that double top idea. Interesting. Let's look at the 4-hour and see how that is. Whoops, I went to the 5. So the 4-hour is coming up. We talked about at the beginning the momentum is still strong. So that idea of potentially curving the hourly for that double top, which is in yellow and orange, the daily is coming down in a manner, but that could be pushed up by the 4-hour. All depends on how the 4-hour reacts and pushes this hourly up or not. So this is all depending on that last hurrah from the 4-hour. Are we gonna get it? Let's look at the 6-hour for that idea. Let's turn off the multiple time frame because it only works for certain time frames. And we go here. We got the 6-hour still in our favor. We also have the 12-hour, I believe, still in our favor. Well, it's coming down, but it's starting to thin with that curvature potential. Have we curved? Yeah, we have curved. Have we curved at that level before without resetting completely? We did it here. So we have done the non-full reset of the 12-hour before. And what was the Williams at that level? It was high, similar to that. So there could be something going with the 12-hour curvature. Let's look at the 22. 22 is starting to curve here too. Interesting. and we've seen those curve at odd levels like here. So that's happened before too. Let's go back to that hourly and then look at the liquidity once again, what's opening up below for that cloud kiss that we were talking about. Whoops. All right, so yeah, let's look at this once again. Reloaded. So you do got these stacked up liquidity pools below. The intention is set. You got more broth here than noodles, and you got more noodles down here to slurp up. Let's slurp it and see what goes on at least. So they've knocked out all the 100x on the longs here. All of these orange guys are 100x. They don't like to keep paying them at all because it amplifies their loss as it amplifies their gains. So they're constantly swatting off 100x. That's a given. And that's why you need to manage your risk properly and your margin. This is just a 5x trade, so we are smooth and can sleep easy with trades open. That's kind of what you got to think about. If you can sleep with the trade open, then you are doing a good service to your risk management. So don't amplify your leverage too much, because your liquidation becomes apparently real and near to the volatility. It's like going into battle and, you know, you're on the front lines and you're fighting dragons up close and personal. Personally, I'd like to be way far away, like a necromancer in his lair, sending hordes of legions of his undead army far away from the battle, and they don't even know how they're getting there to attack him. So yeah, that would be my strategy, to leave your liquidation point so far away from the purview that it doesn't even appear on this chart. Anyway, so this is why 25 and 50x and 100x become these juicy bubbles that get burnt to a crisp. So yeah, it looks like they're going to come back in some fashion. How much is that going to occur? I think based off this liquidity reading that 27.9, 28k is not out of the question. That coincides with the cloud bounce, and let's see if it coincides with a retracement level. We can go from wick to wick on that, so we can go from here to there and turn it to the pocket. So that would bring us all the way down to 27,664. Let's look where that is. 27,664, 27,664, 27,664. Is that you down there, that little round bubble? 27,58, 69 million at 50x. So they could come down to that guy too. Let's see what's lurking above within the recent opens. We already know what's thick. It's pretty sparse. Not so many people are keen on shorting right now, which means they're not tugging the price up to it. So the induced longs are now potentially targets. You got more down here. So it's looking like we're coming down to this region. So you got to start coinciding that with Fibonacci and all that fun stuff. Rainier will get you handled with that. He's super on point with his levels. I need to start looking at his stuff more often, actually. Shout out to Rainier and his level management. So it could be this, or I might be too tunnel visioned on that single impulse. That's what happened the last time. I wasn't looking at external liquidity pools on the fib stuff. So you could be looking at these external pools. What do I mean by external? Well, these impulses are different trades that are open from these impulses. So we could be looking at retraces back down into this region. So the reason why I closed my trade early on that short over the weekend was because I had my impulse drawn here locally rather than externally. So if I had externally extended my vision beyond, I could have held my trade to that point, and it wouldn't have gotten me to think about going long necessarily. So sometimes extending your pool or your retracement tool vision to the external pools is more helpful than keeping it local. So you have this local idea down at 27,664, the external idea, which we already had 2 taps of and a breaking of at 27,596. Yeah, so let's just keep it local for the time being and see how that holds. Once again, when you enter these things, if you have Momentum Master, you'd be looking at these cloud thinning, helix cross events, and so on and so forth with these symbols, with the alerts that come to your phone. The dynamic alert system. Never before seen formula. People are welcome to try to copy it. It was so hard to make myself. Good luck. So yeah, if you get this thinning, comes down. You already got that cross, so we got that kiss of the baseline. So it's kind of ambiguous at this point, but previously I had seen less of these bubbles here. We consolidated them into existence, which is why I trimmed and decided to observe. So I'm in an observational point right now, but I do think this is on the table. But they've thickened this up. These lines didn't used to be here about a few hours ago. It's just been within the last few hours that this starting to heat up a bit. But we are still imbalanced by 3 billion in short liquidity. So we could retrace into these regions and bounce out locally. Keep your stop loss tight and conservative if you consider that idea. Let's go to the S&P one last time and see how that scalp played out. Looks like you could have probably cascaded that thing into high heaven. Let's see if that actually occurred. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong one. But yeah, you could have. So, proof in the pudding, eh? So if you had done that, what we were talking about, you would have been able to take that and to the bank and cash out, and that would have been given you 45 pips or whatever, which is ridiculous if you had 2 or 3 contracts on futures. So yeah, baby, yeah, that's how you do it. And it seems like a little bit, but somebody in the Discord was pointing out to me that 1 5-minute candle of the stock market of S&P and NASDAQ contains more volume than a day of Bitcoin. So if you can capture those momentum swings with futures contracts, dude, it's crazy. That's all I gotta say. So, yeah. Bitcoin looking like it's getting a little bit of steam here off that 236. Looks can be deceiving though. We all saw that yesterday. Bounce off of the adaptive and the weighted here on the 4-minute. Let's go one last time to the 15 and take a look at the chat. So we're reclaiming the cloud we had previously broken out. We bounced off the adaptive moving average. My runner's still going strong, but not only 34 bucks strong, but yeah. So the 15-minute could be making its attempt at a play here with that double top idea we put out for the hourly. Getting pushed up by the 4-hour momentum perhaps, but the liquidity suggests a spike down into these bubbles at least at 27.92 and frugally some more below, based off of that. So not seeing anything exact just yet. I would say this retrace down to the 27.92 region could get you to bounce up to these shorts at 28.77 and above. Once again, that 29.4, it has all this caked up juice right here to take. So I'm more bullish than bearish just on the idea of this caked up 1 minute stuff and the 29.4, 70 billion or so on the higher time frames of the external range. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And yeah, if I'll check out this chat and see what's going on. Shout out to everyone here. Do you have you were saying to look at Cat and Cadena, so we'll do that and then we'll bounce out. Cat and Cadena. Cat Cambria. Looks like the move has already played, and so this is not when I would think to enter, and it looks like you're having cat ears on Cat, which normally lead to downside. What is a cat ears pattern? Well, it kind of makes these cat ears and continues down on a consolidation path. That's just immediately what popped into my head right there, by the spikes of it all. I don't like these kind of like spiky plays. I don't really understand the altcoin game so much. Like the allure with it escapes me sometimes, but because I don't understand what makes that spike occur. It seems kind of random sometimes. And why does it ignore the rockets on certain coins? Like, what is the liquidity of this? This is 10 million micro cap kind of thing. So if we look at you had previously broken out, we're kind of coming down in this range. Let me just zoom out first to get a little bit more structure. So yeah, you had that's not gonna work. So we had that like one base one and then just total breakdown back into the base one of a breakout. Looks like a shoulder, head and a shoulder potentially for whatever reason on the daily time frame. Not really understanding the structure in terms of why it was so sideways and then it spikes up. Every coin seems to have a personality of its own, and this one seems to have a lot of spikiness to it, where it spikes up and drops down, spikes up and drops down. A lot of things do that, but you have this channel that it's in. We could just take this and do that, and that descending channel with the cloud thinning on the daily. You could be waning on the sellers, although it got thicker there at the last point. You had bullish divergence on the money flow that started to come back to the RSI. Daily time frame is starting to play out, but you're going sideways essentially. You had the spike and another spike, and you didn't really maintain or rise your level. It's still kind of going sideways. You do have the Williams in a low position on the daily, which is nice. If you go to the 12 hour previously got overbought on that candle that got sold off. You had a second attempt, which is struggling to maintain. It couldn't capture, reclaim that ATR. The cloud is kind of thin on the 12 hour. The 6 hour is trying to reclaim the cloud, which has turned green off of that spike. You are getting that crossover event. I don't even know the accuracy of these things on these low liquidity coins, so please be careful. I don't know. You'd have to go back and back test the accuracy of them yourself. I'm just giving it a face reading. You'd have to give yourself a little bit more credit and go back with the indicator on. So the 4 hour is getting a crossover event. The previous time we had a crossover, it spiked up. We had a crossover, it spiked up a little bit. So we already have that move that went out. The 4 hour could still have some steam, although the money flow is above the RSI. The RSI is coming up to the money flow, which is interesting, and you're getting that potential rising sun on that. The 4 hour closes an hour and 30. Tried to see whether that closes with the sun there or not. And yeah, you got that spike of volume here on the PVSRA candles, not on the same level as this one, which got sold off. So not really sure what to say about that. You got 3 green candles. Normally on PVSRA strategy you get 3 green candles and then a blue to signify reversal. So you could have looked at this as this is either the green ones were split up here and here, 1, 2, 3, stopping volume and then reverse. So you would have known to get that. So we already have 3 here. This could have been the split up one, and you have 1, and then maybe you have like 1, 2, and then a third candle up perhaps, and then you cool off and it's like a cup and handle. So you could see another stab up here, but the hourly is cooked. I would wait for the hourly to come down with the 15-minute in a nice manner if that's your thing playing this coin. Yeah, it looks like the RSI, the Williams is going to dump on you with the 15 here, and then you'll see some sort of reset of the 15-minute time frame, and the hourly is also spent. Yeah, it looks like it already played out, and you would have gotten those alerts to your phone down here if you're keen on doing that. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of this spikiness. I'm not really feeling it personally. Let's go to, what was the last one? Cadena. I remember getting into Cadena at $1.89 before it went to $22. That was crazy. Crazy. When things just didn't make sense at all because everyone was just into whatever they were into, and yeah, there was just bullishness in the air left and right after October 2021. So if we go to here, the daily time frame, you got that double bottom, but the retrace kind of broke into these resistance levels and created like a bigger double bottom kind of thing, a double bottom within like a larger weird quadruple bottom. And yeah, the 4 hour is starting to play out. The cloud is thinning, which is interesting to note on Cadena, and it's starting to curve in a manner which is nice if the lower time frames suggest reclaiming it. Looks like you already had that reclaiming nature, so you had that breakout kiss continuation fake out from Bitcoin yesterday, reclaiming it today. And looks like you're doing the same thing as Bitcoin in terms of like resetting your hourly here. So I think we can look at liquidity for Cadena. No, we can't actually. It's probably on KuCoin only, not Binance, or is it on Binance? Let's see. Cadena, KDA, HIJK. No, yeah, I thought so. So you're getting some spike wicks of offloading position ideas here. You already broke out. Are you coming back to reset the hourly and kiss this? We already kind of held it. We broke down prematurely with the fake out of Bitcoin and had that inverse head and shoulders out of there. And so now you're kind of like chilling out. So you'd be looking to like kind of like retest one of these like baselines here. I like this adaptive on the hourly. So you're watching the hourly time frame to reset and give you the last of the steam juice of the 4 hour perhaps, if it reaches into an order block or something here. So this is a fair value gap on the hourly that you could recover. So any type of retrace into these regions I mean, technically, you'd be taking it. Oops. So, I mean, the adaptive and the weighted and the cloud is pretty good. Seeing where those lie, the ATR is down here too, which is the mathematical point down here. Conservatively, I'd be thinking something more like this, because the 4 hour is overbought at 85, so that would be like a Hail Mary. If it gets down to this level, it might just consider resetting the 4 hour completely. The 4 hour does have that upside momentum, so once, like we said, that hourly double top idea for Bitcoin as this weird push up might see something for Kadena on the 15 minute as well. So if you are like a risk, you like playing these like breakout trades, which I'm not a super fan of personally, but if you play those kind of breakout ideas, then you see this 15, which is starting to play possibly. I mean, it's already at the top of the channel, so ideally you would have played that when this reset completely down here. Maybe you did, and you're just asking about the health of it, so you know, you're already up like 1% or something. So if you see that 15 play out, because it did kiss off the cloud for that bounce, you could see the 15-minute play out. One last hurrah for that double top juiciness of the 4 hour push up on this, but it would be like a Hail Mary. It's not my cup of tea right now. I would wait for a little bit more reset of those higher time frames for a long idea. But you have a shoulder head, shoulder, which, and the shoulder head and shoulder kind of out of here. Perhaps you still have a lot of resistance up above, kind of going to that region. If we do the trend-based fib extension level, we can go from the impulse to the top to the bottom. Like, let's say you entered down there, then you would be looking to reclaim and hold the 236 to see these levels at least up here for rejection. If that's true, you could even take it back to here and here and say this, it's already occurring. This was the 236. We bounced up to the 1. We're wicking off the 1, and you'd be looking for a continuation to the 1618 of that previous impulse retrace idea. So it's all math within math, so you can just use this bullish trend-based fib level to the impulse up to here to the retrace to this cloud here. And within that math of that impulse retrace, if it holds the 236, it tells you where it wants to go, which is here and above. So if the 15-minute wants to continue, it'll go up to these things above. So that was the beauty of last night, putting out that bearish trend-based fib. I haven't done that in a while, so it was kind of like a subconsciously like saying, you know, check, watch out kind of thing. And I was saying, like, you know, you do this fall retrace to the top, it's the opposite, and then the 236 we got rejected on. I was talking about this rejection, and I was saying unless we can reclaim the 236, then expect more downside, and we got it down to that 1 level and bounced off that. So that was pretty interesting. Didn't call it or anything, I was just kind of like putting that out there, and I said, you know, the stop into profit and everything. I think Rainier nailed it like on point. Let me go to Rainier, shout out to Rainier. Let me look at his call. I should have checked it out before I went to bed, because that was pretty on point. He was talking about it going down, and he even shorted it. Congrats. Yeah, he was talking about it exactly, man. Smooth jazz. Yeah, that was cool. All right, well, that's about all I got. Peace out, and thank you for stopping on in. Once again, thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in, and I will catch you on the flip. Peace.